upcoming. Let's make sure there's no sound here. Well, that's not right. Did the changes not save? Oh, replace. Whoops, I didn't even upload the new thumbnail. Worked hard on that thumbnail. Let's get chats up, and then I still have got to send out the refresh. Uh-oh, we're gonna end this one, and then I'll be right back, guys. Okay, are we live? Let's see. Has my thumbnail updated? There it is. Okay, are we live? Copy. Okay. Are we live? Let's see. I'm a little behind today. We had a there it is. Interview with the update. That will go live tomorrow. Actually, we're gonna have a guest episode. It was a good one. I really enjoyed it. We had a quality conversation. Some quality people. Tomorrow, actually. Let me get this out, and then I'll talk about all of that soon. We had a quality conversation. Live now on Rumble and YouTube. Talking about. I'll talk about all of that soon. The NDAA and ACA and more. We'll make it more specific. Affordable Care Act. Oops. The National Defense Authorization Act. Ooh. Act. National and more. Join now. It should be a interesting one. I think that's the best way to put what today's is. It's rather interesting. Paste. Live now on Rumble and YouTube on the National Defense Authorization Act and Affordable. The best way to put what today's is. Affordable Care Act and more. Join now. It should be an interesting one. Sorry about that, everybody. Like I was saying, we had a busy, I guess, morning here, afternoon as well. I recorded the episode Searching for Solutions number 3. That will be up tomorrow at 5 o'clock. At least it should be. I have every intention of, making it happen. But yeah, that should be up tomorrow. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It was a rather interesting conversation. Rather fun. Like I said, great people. I enjoyed it. I hope they did as well. We talked about, coming back on in the future, just having each other as a resource. So, that's always good. I guess I'll remind everybody while we start, make sure you're liking, sharing, chat with me if you're not driving the day. If you are, stay safe on the roads. Don't be dangerous. Don't be dangerous, people. And yeah, like, share, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already on YouTube, follow on Rumble. There's always the option, to subscribe on Rumble too. I appreciate that. Gives you a little red highlighted message, and it helps me out a little bit financially. I guess, having the day off tomorrow, kinda. I'll be editing the interview a little bit. We had a brief pause in it, but I'll be able to do some things that I need to do around here. Car's broken again. It's always something around here, but hopefully I'll be able to get that fixed tomorrow, and I'll have this uploaded for you guys, or Searching for Solutions 3 uploaded for you guys with Noah and Erica of the update. They were great. That'll be up at 5 tomorrow. But yeah, I guess an update kind of on yesterday's theory. I was a little wrong, but I was somewhat validated from it. It's today CEO or chief, not CEO. That works like a for-profit business, in my opinion. But the chief of NATO, Mark Rutte, claimed today that we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured. In his address today, he claimed that we are Russia's next target, referring to NATO as he was addressing NATO, and that NATO would have to substantially increase its military presence along the eastern flank. These are his quotes. I can't wait until he finds out about China, unless he's already on their side. I do have my worries about that. The interview tomorrow will kind of quell those a little bit, I guess, for you guys, but it seems like they're working hand in hand almost, at least in the sense that they're ignoring such a major issue. But in my opinion, it's way past time to get out of NATO. Like I said this yesterday. If they want to go to war with Russia, they can do it themselves. Not me, not my friends, not my family. No, we're not doing it. And we're not going to bail you out again. At least I hope not. We bailed them out twice in wars, I believe. People have heard of World War I and World War II. But as soon as we get involved, we tend to make quick work of it. I don't want to have to do that again. I don't want the cost of life that all that will entail. I don't want the cost in general that will entail. But this comes after a UK paratrooper was killed in Ukraine on Tuesday. United Kingdom. That is a NATO member, and that is a country that was not in conflict with Russia, I do not believe. Russia's response was that it was casus belli, which is a term for an act provoking or justifying war, for a nuclear strike on the United Kingdom. That will definitely drag us in the conflict. It's never too soon to invoke Article 13. But they want an explanation from the United Kingdom as to what an active duty military member was doing in Ukraine, why they were there. And I know exactly what NATO's trying to do here. They're trying to muddy the waters, for no reason. They want to invoke Article 5. They want to draw everyone in. And it seems they do want another war on the European continent, even if it's the last war that they will fight as nations, unfortunately. It seems that this is just something that they do want. The fact that they have people on the ground there is, one, bad. Two, I don't think that they care to invoke Article 5 and draw us into a conflict. I don't think that is something that they're worried about. Something I'm worried about for sure. I don't think we should have boots on the ground there. I think it's a Ukraine-Russia problem, maybe even a Europe problem. It's not a North American problem. Believe it or not, the army of Russia is not going to walk across the ocean. They are not going to walk across the Atlantic Ocean into Washington, D.C. But if we do invoke Article 5, there likely will be warships perusing the coasts, and I think that's a much larger issue, than what happens in Ukraine personally. So for our our main story today, in the 11th hour last night, Congress sold the taxpayers' souls. The 3,086-page National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, was passed in a 312 to 112 vote. Does anybody have any guesses on the number of congressmen that read through the whole thing? It was received by them on Sunday, so I feel like I have a safe assumption of everybody who's read through the whole thing. 0. But this bill totals out to, bill in multiple ways, totals out to $900.6 billion. Let's talk about what's in this bill, and let's talk about, and then after we'll talk about what was left out. It has a 3.8% pay raise, 3.8% pay raise for service members, along with reauthorizing the expansion of military bonuses and special pay, along with family separation allowances. I think that's good. I think we should adequately, fairly pay our warfighters. They are the ones footing the load of all this madness right now, and I think their families and themselves should be fairly compensated and have at least a reasonable quality of living. This has $400 million in a Ukraine security assistance. This gives an additional $650 million to Israel. It has $2.7 billion more for the Pacific Deterrence Initiative for technologies needed to deter Chinese hypersonic missiles, AI, mobile nuclear reactors, high energy lasers, autonomous systems, and autonomous and cyber systems. It also has $1 billion for the continuity of funding for the Taiwan Security Cooperation Initiative. It has $1.5 billion in new security assistance in the Philippines. These are places I was talking about not 2 days ago. This has $175 million for the Baltic Security Initiative. I think our fellow brothers in NATO could fund that one. It has funding for the development of National Guard troops funding for the deployment of National Guard troops to the southern border, and over $1 billion to fight drug trafficking. This includes $398 million for counter-narcotics operations through the Department of Defense, and $216 million for counter-drug programs through the National Guard. It has $335 million for the renovation of military hospitals, but lowers the threshold of travel reimbursement for appointments from 100 to 75 miles, which I think is a little ridiculous. I don't know why you'd have to lower it 25 miles. I don't know if we're that cheap, but I guess we are. This has $26 billion in shipbuilding funds, $38 billion in funding for development of 6th-generation aircraft, the building of the Golden Dome as part of the National Defense Policy, $103 million for overseas humanitarian, disaster, and civic aid. Now, I'm not exactly sure what civic aid is. It sounds a lot like the USAID program that was, I guess, destroyed. But it sounds a lot like that $103 million is going to be going into stuff like that. So maybe we'll talk about what was left out of the bill. The prohibition of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which was part of the 2013 National Defense Authorization Act, was left out. Like I said, that is what allows media to propagandize you with government narratives. They don't have to tell you the facts. They tell you what the government pays them to. I thought we had enough PBS and NPR, but I guess not. But then I saw something today on X. It was amendments that Thomas Massie had proposed for the National Defense Authorization Act. So I thought, let's take a moment and let's look at the congressman everyone loves to hate on, Congressman Massie, and see why these are so reprehensible. So the first one prohibits the use of funds to query foreign intelligence information controlled under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act using a United States person identifier. It prohibits the National Security Agency and the Central Intelligence Agency from using funds to mandate or request that private entities modify products or services to enable electronic surveillance except as authorized under the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act. The second one repeals the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2013 by restoring statutory prohibitions on domestic dissemination of State Department and United States Agency for Global Media, formerly the Broadcasting Board of Governors, informational materials, and restricting the use of funds for domestic propaganda. Prohibits the use of clandestine or non-official social media accounts and other such platforms for these agencies' information activities, confines dissemination to official platforms, and establishes strict archival, transparency, and labeling requirements for delayed public access to such materials. Here's another one. Prohibits the transfer of the Mk-84 2,000-pound bomb to Israel. He tried to remove strikes extension of the Ukraine Security Assistance Act, meaning that we would no longer fund that. He intended to strike funding for overseas humanitarian disaster and civic aid program, costing the U.S. taxpayers over $100 million, as I previously said. He attempted to strike foreign aid funding for the Taiwan Security Cooperation Initiative. I believe that was $1 billion. He intended to strike foreign aid funding to Iraq, Lebanon, Jordan, Kurdish forces, and Syrian groups. I think we all know where that money goes. Terror. He intended to strike continuation of foreign aid funding to Iraqi security forces, as well as other military, paramilitary, and security forces in Iraq. He also intended to strike $500 million in missile defense foreign aid to Israel. He looked to strike foreign aid funding for Israeli anti-tunneling cooperation and U.S.-Israel cooperation to counter unmanned systems, costing the U.S. taxpayer $150 million. He also sought to prohibit assistance to both Israel and Ukraine in two different amendments. All of these were struck down. I don't know how many of these many people disagree with. I think we are $38 trillion in debt. This bill makes it a lot, or I think it pushes us beyond the $39 trillion threshold, surely. So I don't know how we're going to afford all of these things. All I know we can't. I mean, if you're that much in debt, you can't afford it. This burden's going to fall on us, the taxpayer, as it always does. I guess we'll continue to fund it. We have no other option. This is apparently what we all voted for. I thought we were voting for America. Turns out we voted for a Christmas present to the world. In other news, today the Senate rejected both Affordable Care Act subsidy extension bills, setting the stage for premiums to surge. Today, the Senate struck down both the Republican and Democrats' plans to address the problems left by the Affordable Care Act. The Democrats' plan for a 3-year extension of COVID-era premium tax credits was struck down with a vote of 51 to 48. Keep in mind you need 60 right now. And the Republican plan to provide health savings accounts, along with lower-cost bronze plans, was also struck down with a vote of 51 to 48. Like I said, we need 60 right now. And this is why we need to nuke the filibuster. It's pertinent that Congress gets this done soon. As the people impacted, these people are the people navigating the open enrollment period right now. They need answers. They need to know what healthcare is going to cost, how much they're going to have for Christmas this year. But yeah, people need to know how much healthcare for the next year is going to cost, and that's surely going to impact what's underneath the tree this year. And it could be nothing if they can't get this done. But as the way it sits right now, there's going to be families without a Christmas because they're going to have to expend exorbitant amounts on healthcare next year if we can't figure out a way to either subsidize this or give the money back to the taxpayers, as I would prefer. But until we can figure that out, people are going to have to plan to pay a lot more for healthcare next year, unfortunately. But I'd say Congress, it needs to get to work. I mean, I have no idea. I would say I have no idea of how this wasn't already done in preparation for the new year. But I do. This happened because Congress let Democrats shut the government down for 43 days, allowed them to run out the clock, while Republicans failed to terminate the filibuster due to procedural reasons. This is the same filibuster that Democrats are going to terminate when they get into power during the midterms, because Republicans are getting nothing done that their constituents voted for. You're going to see low turnout from Republicans, and you're going to see some people flip just because of how expensive this is going to be. They're going to see, look what Republicans did while they were in power. But 45 million Americans are covered currently by the Affordable Care Act. So I would say if there's no Christmas for 45 million Americans, Congress doesn't get Christmas either. They should work through the holidays, because this just isn't something that can wait until the next year. This is something that has to be done by the end of this year, or people aren't going to either A, not have health care, or B, overpay for it, because that's the only option right now. And this is exactly what Democrats want. They want Republicans with their backs up against the wall, because they either can't or won't work fast enough to complete the president's and the voters of America's agenda. So when Republicans cave like they always do, instead of terminating the filibuster, I think they're going to cave. They'll probably roll with the 3-year extension the Democrats proposed and say, oh, look what we did. So when they cave, like they always do, instead of just terminating the filibuster and pushing through the bill that gives the money back to the people, they're going to lose both majorities in the House and the Senate. Come this November, come midterms. And don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say you don't know why. You know why. You know why today. This is them refusing to get any agenda done whatsoever by following some silly procedural rule that won't even be a thing a year from now. Democrats are going to get rid of it when they come to power, and they'll be pushing these things through. 51 votes, over and over again. So my advice, terminate the filibuster, get things done, start getting things done. If not, I hope they enjoy the holidays from the comforts of their seats in the House and the Senate. I really do. Because next year, I'm going to guess they won't be enjoying it. They'll probably be looking for new means of employment for the holidays next year if they keep this up. So I figured, let's see, what has Congress been spending their time on besides selling out the taxpayer and acting like the 535 Grinches that stole Christmas? Well, today, an impeachment attempt against President Trump failed, which was voted on 237-14. Absolutely abysmal use of your time, especially if you're not even going to put it through. If you're going to put it through, I guess it's a good expenditure of your time, but this is a waste. I don't know how many times they've done this in, I guess, the past, 8 years now? Probably closer to 9. I mean, it's just over and over again, this same thing. But also, this is just 3 days after the Senate actually wasted the time. Sorry, this one baffles me. To condemn Nick Fuentes, a 27-year-old podcaster, for anti-Semitism and white supremacism, instead of actually spending the time to get these things done. I guess they've also never heard of the Streisand effect, because this is only going to bring more people to him. They're just going to look him up because they have the internet, and he's going to have more viewers than ever because you're doing stupid things like this. But yeah, this is what the Senate's actually chose to do on Monday. They chose to hold this condemnation vote for a podcaster. I mean, maybe I need to say some controversial things so I can get my name shouted across the Capitol for hours. Maybe that's a good idea. I don't think so, but it's what it's the reward you get from Congress. So maybe we'll look into that in the future, but I don't think I will. I think I'll do it the proper way. But I mean, I don't care how you feel about him. I mean, I think he's rather talented in his orating skills, but I think a lot of his views are objectionable. I think they're awful. But this is literally how Congress has chosen to spend its time this week. They've decided to go after a 27-year-old podcaster instead of reading the 3,086-page bill they wrote or fixing health care and the Affordable Care Act. This should make you mad. We're spending time impeaching Trump for second or third time. We're condemning random podcasters on Capitol Hill instead of reading bills and actually getting things done. But this right here is why Republicans are going to lose the midterms. It's going to be a landslide at this point. I don't know what they can do to turn it around other than actually getting to work, getting things done, so codifying the Doge cuts, things like this. But they're going to have to work extra hard this year. They're going to have to make up for an entire year they've wasted to this point. I mean, even Trump said the other day, I've mentioned this before, he couldn't even get his nominations through because of the lack of spines and the lack of, I guess, energy, the inability to do anything of Congress. But no, I'd be furious right now. I am furious. But if I were you, I'd be furious as well. This is an abysmal use of time, especially when there's on the table, there's 45 million Americans who are going to struggle through this Christmas. So I'd say get to work, guys. And if you don't, just work through Christmas because you'll be working on finding a new job next year. I can guarantee you that. But that's really all I have for today. I will remind you guys we will have a guest episode tomorrow that will be airing at 5 o'clock. That's when it'll go live. I'll probably set it as a premiere on YouTube. I don't know if I'll be in the chat. I do have a Christmas party I plan on going to. But yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy that. It's really fun. It's focused more on Europe, but some of us have never been there, so we'd like to know. Like I said, that's all I have for today. Make sure everybody's liking on both YouTube and Rumble. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble. If you'd like to subscribe on Rumble, it helps me out, and you get cool little red messages. And if you do want to donate, there is a little $ in the bottom corner of the Rumble chat. That'll let you do a one-time donation, a monthly donation. Anything's helpful. Helps me be able to keep this going. Helps me be able to get new equipment like I did the other day. Got a new cord that has upped the quality of video, which I am proud of. I think it looks stellar. But it's things like that. I put all of it back into what I'm doing right now, as of right now, because some of my equipment isn't the best. But I'll be back live on Monday at 4:45. Like I said, tomorrow's going to be a guest episode, pre-recorded. I recorded that today. It's a good one. Like I said, it's a good one. I think everybody's going to enjoy that one. And yeah, I think that's all. So I'll sign off here. Tell my people on the East Coast. I hope you make it home safe. Tell my people further west, I hope you finish up your workday strong and get home safe as well. I'll try and be in chat tomorrow at 5 with Searching for Solutions 3 during the premiere. If I can't, I'm sorry. It'll still be up at 5. It'll be up on Rumble as well, so you can watch it there. But yeah, I'll see you guys again Monday, live at 4:45 with whatever's happened over this weekend.